And we're live. Imagine all kinds of crazy fun videos and sounds going on, and there's an intro and animations and woo.
And
Speaking of
there's a Bwom in there
the
too.
Bwom.
Yeah, can't forget the Bwom.
Ultimate Fighter Gaming Showdown. Yes, okay. That was more Wookiee than Godzilla, but whatever.
It happens, dude.
It does.
Godzilla's a hard one to pull off.
It is. That's an interesting one. I should go back and look someday and see how they made that sound, because that's always interesting to find out how they pull off those things. I'm guessing it's just modulated elephant, but
Possibly. I remember the day I discovered what the sound was for the Predator in the movies.
I don't know. What is that? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a woodpecker.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
I found this out when I was alone when I was selling my house, and so I had a completely empty house,
And you
and
were
I
sure
was
the predator was coming to get you.
and I was just painting walls, and so all the windows were open, and it was just echoing around everywhere because I kind of lived in like a cul-de-sac and everything, and the way it was just kind of the sound was entering in the house and stuff. I heard the predator come, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And then like later on, I looked up, and I figured out it was a woodpecker, and then I figured out that the predator sound was based off of mainly like woodpecker with like some other stuff added in. But yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy what they can do with mixing some sounds together. But yeah, I mean, Chewbacca's a brown bear.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, ET's voice is a combination of feedback and old lady belching and
yeah.
some other weird thing. It was like three weird things mixed together.
I always
Like,
thought the best one ever was the blaster sound from Star Wars.
hmm, yeah, I'm not sure on that one either,
I
which is
remember,
weird. I should know.
yeah, it was. I remember seeing an old show like a way back in the day. I think it was like on TV. They were going like the special effects behind Star Wars, and it was yeah. It's they basically it's just like a stabilizing cable for like power lines or something,
Boing!
and they just take a whack at it with a metal bar, and it makes the blaster sound. It was weird just seeing them just like. And I don't even think they really even touched it up a lot. They just were hitting it, and it was generating that sound. And I'm like, that's freaky.
That's pretty cool. And
Yeah,
the
I mean,
lightsaber's like what from isn't it like a fluorescent light bulb being held too close to a CRT display or something like that?
it was something weird like that. But I mean, you figure I mean, all the sounds came from
Physical
basically
things.
physical stuff before
Yeah.
because I mean that's how they did it back in '77. So it's kind of awesome that all that stuff has like roots in like real things.
Well, anyway, since we got totally sidetracked right off the bat, welcome to Gamersledge Podcast, episode 267, name to be determined because I have no idea what we're going to end up talking about tonight. As you can tell, Mark is not here. He had planned on running the show and had everything lined up to do all that hostly stuff, and then had a last minute conflict. So you get us. Tried to get a special guest, but apparently he's old and tired and has to go to bed because, life.
It could be he just hates us
It could just be that too,
because
But I,
I don't blame him there for that one.
well, and he is East. He's even more East Coast than you, so kind of mandated that he hates everyone because, you know, that's kind of the Boston way.
That's not more East Coast than me, is it?
Well, Boston is the most East Coast place I know. Not necessarily the furthest actual east, because obviously Maine goes further east, but as far as the Eastern Coast mentality that I associate with the coast. Not if you're on the East Coast and actually watching and giving us the time of your time, then appreciate it. But
Yeah.
you guys can be a bunch of a-holes. And if you're on the other coast, then yeah, I don't even know. Just whatever. I'm opinionated. What can I say? All right. So it's been a while. It's a couple weeks again, I think, since we got online here and did a thing. So in that time frame, what have you been up to? You've actually been playing video games. It's kind of scary. It's bothering me a little bit.
I have been. Oh yeah, I forgot that Boston is pretty east. It's just not in my list of East Coast places, to be honest.
Really? Wow. I mean, wow.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Like, it's like New York, Philly, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've never actually physically been to New York. New York City may be the most East Coast place in the United States, but since, I've not actually physically been there, I can't, in my mind, it's not the most East Coast place.
yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on like I don't know. I mean, every city's got their own attitude about it, so obviously I'm going to be partial.
Nah. Well, I'm in the right time zone, The rest of y'all are in the wrong ones. I'm the only one in the right time zone. So
That's so far from true. The world's economy revolves around East Coast time. We all know that.
Economy, schmonomy.
But I've actually been playing games, so that's really messed up. Not only that, I've actually completed games,
which is even more unbelievable.
Which is even more messed up.
And you've enjoyed them, which is really weird. No, wait, that's Mark. Sorry, that's Mark. I keep on getting that mixed up.
Yeah. I always enjoy my games. So let's see, how long has it been? I think we talked about Tumbleweed Park, completing that, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Well, I know we did, but I think we did on the cast.
I think we did too. Like, I think that was the last show I was on, was the one where I finished Tumbleweed Park. Yeah. So since then, let's see.
Did you ever play Final Age or Broken Age? Sorry, not Final Age, Broken Age.
No, I did not actually.
Okay, you might like that one. It's got a lot of weird, obtuse puzzles, and in the format of an old style.
I remember it being. I remember it being on a list of stuff I wanted to try at one point, and I just kind of never got around to it.
Yeah, I finished it recently, and it was good. There was one puzzle I did have to look up because I just could not figure out for the life of me what I was supposed to do.
Some of them are like that, and when they get like really obtuse, that was the good thing about Thimbleweed Park. Like, it wasn't, the stuff really made sense, and they even poked a little fun at stuff every once in a while, like the tropes that kind of invade those kind of games. It was a very self-aware game, but it was also made by the people who originated the genre.
Right.
So I mean, it's like they really had a lot of fun with it, so it was really good. I guess the big one was Mario Odyssey came out, and I actually played through the credit roll of that, and then afterward you go back to collect more moons and stuff like that. So I'm kind of in that phase of it now. That game is just phenomenal. It is. I mean, I really haven't even checked reviews of it, so I don't know like what's going on with it as far as like if it's universally praised or slammed or whatever. If people love it or hate it, but I actually love it. It is definitely a system seller for the for the Switch. Everybody should be buying it. The game is tremendous amounts of fun. Probably has some of the most varied levels of any Mario game I've played. So that's really cool. Tons of challenges, tons of all the stuff you'd like about old Mario games there, with a bunch of new twists in them. They do this one thing that's really cool is they jump into like a 2D world that's kind of like interspersed within the levels. So you have like the old school classic Mario 2D side scrolling a little bit with it. And it's like just seamlessly integrated within the levels and everything. They do a really, it's just one of those games that they obviously took a lot of time and cared about what they were putting out. That typical Nintendo shine, and when they're clicking on all cylinders, that's what you get. Games like that. So it's nice that Nintendo's kind of returning the form and really kicking out these good games again. So that's kind of great.
Yeah, it's been pretty much universally praised. I just looked the Metacritic quick. Is 97. This was one of the two that came out last week before last. Yeah, week before last. That was one of the Friday releases, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And it and Wolfenstein had a weird thing going on. The Mario Odyssey was getting flooded with user ratings of 10, and Wolfenstein was getting flooded with user ratings of 1. There was this weird thing going on where both games were getting unusually flooded with user reviews at extremes. No words with them either, just ratings and like a random string of characters.
I actually know what the Wolfenstein one was about. That was Backlash.
Is that the Nazi thing?
Yeah, because
Wolfenstein doesn't have any history with Nazis or anything.
No, but it was really funny. Before the flood came in of just like numbers without any words, there were a lot of 1-star or like 1 out of 10 reviews based upon with words in them, and they're hilarious. It's basically, they're calling it a social justice warrior agenda game and everything like that. It's just all the rhetoric around that whole scene was just spewing out about this game. Like all it was just like this I forget all the stuff they were using. It's all stupid.
I have to play it because I have to find out if it's that much different from the first game or if it's just the timing, because the first game, the first of this reboot, if you will, of it, New Order, was very cheeky about all that stuff. I mean, it was a great game, but it was incredibly cheeky. So I just have to wonder if this just continues that, and it's just the timing and the way everything laid out as this one hit, or if it actually is significantly different in any way.
Yeah, I have no idea, but the stuff reads as like, that it should be a joke, the stuff that they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling people are taking themselves seriously, which kind of makes
that kind of describes our political environment.
Yeah. Which kind of makes it funnier, but also kind of makes it more sad at the same time.
Yeah.
Because all this stuff is just like, I don't want this stuff in my games. Which is why I'm just kind of sticking to Mario at this point, like they're Sweden. They're going to stay out of all this and not let me down, so.
Well, they are actually promoting Satanism and possession and stuff, so they're not pure either. So.
Oh yeah, and it's great fun. Let me tell you.
How big of a component is that actually to the game? Because I mean, that was like the thing that's been
Huge.
Focused on. Is it okay? I wasn't sure if it was like, do you spend most of the time possessing other things, or is it just you use it to do a thing and then you move on as Mario?
Well, I mean, for the most part, you're Mario, but you do spend a lot of time, as other stuff to, get through some get through some fights, get through some, puzzles, get through some obstacles and everything like that. I mean, there's a lot of secrets, need to be unlocked by, being something else and doing something else. So yeah, I mean, there's a ton of that going on.
Do you find it kind of a Kirby-esque mechanic, or is it not quite that?
Something, maybe that's why I like it so much.
I won't say that's why I asked that question, just because I started making that association, but
I didn't even think to make that association, but I mean, yeah, I guess it kind of in a way is, because you're, assuming abilities by, doing something. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. And it also makes sense of why I would love that so much, because I'm a huge fan, of Kirby stuff. So, and especially of that mechanic, I just think it's a brilliant mechanic in a game. But yeah, I mean, it gets weird too. Like you possess some weird things, to move around, and it's it just makes you laugh, like as you're doing it. But yeah, there's some real fun stuff. And especially like late in the game, you do some real fun stuff with the possession thing. I don't want to ruin anything, but it's a very worthwhile game to play through.
Cool.
Definitely have it on your Christmas list.
Is your cat attacking you?
No.
Cool. Well, so what else? What else you been
Fire Emblem on the Switch.
Is that the Dynasty Warriors?
Yeah, Fire Emblem Warriors, I guess.
Okay.
Is it? And that's I mean, it's straightforward. It's like a Dynasty Warriors type game. You're just hacking and slashing away at everything. You got your special moves, your special combos, and everything. I never really played any other any of the Dynasty Warrior games properly. Other than just kind of messing around with them for a bit. So I can't say if it's very true to the formula or whatnot.
Do you beat things down to charge up a meter and then unleash super attacks on large groups of enemies and eventually fight a boss?
Yes.
Then yes, it's like exactly like every other Dynasty Warrior ever.
I figured it was pretty straightforward, but I just wasn't coming from a position of authority.
I forgot to ask this, but you play both of these on the Switch. So what configuration have you been using? Like, I know there's motion controls in Mario, but there's alternate control schemes that get you most of the same stuff without using the motion controls.
I found that I haven't had to use the motion controls all that much. And I think there's a couple bits where I actually forget that the other things are there, and I think that's what's been causing me issues on a couple bits. But one thing is you shake the controllers or something, and you do your spin, attack with the hat, and you can do it by just kind of rocking the Switch like this when you have the controllers attached, and it doesn't work all that well when you're doing it that way because you got to really rock the screen real quick. So I don't often use that. And I really haven't had too many issues with the game playing it that way. And honestly, I don't think I've played this game on the TV once yet because I'm always I'm on the couch playing it while somebody's watching TV, or I played it upstairs when I had insomnia, I'd play like that. So yeah, I haven't even had it on the TV. So there's that.
Our Switch hasn't left the dock in a long time.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say, and it's just I mean, this. I'm really enjoying this system more and more and more because of the flexibility, with that stuff. Yeah. So I'm digging it.
That said, I did play Link to the Past the other day, and I was playing it on the Wii U, but I was playing it on the tablet while somebody else was using the TV for something else. So I was actually doing that same thing, but with the older console.
Yeah, that works. I got an SNES Classic.
Oh, nice. How'd you score that?
I literally walked in the store as they were getting the shipment.
And somebody likes you. I
walked in and I was just picking up something small, like a little gag gift for my nephew, and GameStop has all the the swag now. So I just went there to get a gag gift because he's 17, he's at that age where he gets money. That's what the kid wants. He needs money, he gets money. But I like getting him a little something, stupid and geeky, just because they expect that of me. And so I just went in to get something like that, and I was in there with my wife's nephew. And they got a box in, and I heard the person behind the counter go "Oh, I think we should have we should have some SNES Classics in here." And I looked at her and I was like, "You have what?" And she's like, "Oh, you heard that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "You want one?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then they only had two, so there was somebody else in the store that snagged the other one. So before they were even logged into the system, they were already accounted for.
Oh, wow.
But it's actually a nice little thing.
So you were a Sega kid. Did you ever have an SNES?
No, I never had an SNES.
Okay.
Not official. I mean, I knew plenty of people that had one, so I had access to all the games. Because that's what you did. You'd always go over everybody's houses, and we kind of I have a Genesis. You want to play this? We come over here. Oh, we want to play that. You play it over that house. Oh, the weird kid down the street has a TurboGrafx. Let's go check him out for some of that.
Somebody had the Atari. What was that thing?
The Jaguar.
Jaguar. There you go.
Yeah. I didn't know anybody with a Jaguar.
I actually did. One of the people out here had a Jaguar.
I really always want to play the original Tempest 3000 or Tempest 2000. I know they released a version of it on the Saturn, and I had that, but I always heard that wasn't as good as the Jaguar version. So, but I think that time has passed.
Yeah, I haven't seen a Jaguar since then.
Yeah, and I haven't bothered to try and like look one up or anything like that because it's just like, why?
Yeah,
At this point,
it wasn't that good, but hey, it was
no.
games at that time, and you play them. So
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's actually a very nice system. The controller is great. Hooks up easy. It's very very user friendly. It saves all the games and everything as you're playing them. So you could just like jump right in and out of whatever you're doing. So that's fun. So that's Mendrel. Selection of games is fantastic. I was showing my wife's nephew the original, not the original, but the Super Nintendo Zelda game, Link to the Past. On that. So like he was playing that. He just got done playing a Switch Zelda game, so he thinks he's Mr. Zelda, which is hilarious. Well, there was other games.
Yeah, back to 1985.
Yeah, you would not know what to do with the first one. That's for sure. So yeah, it has a great selection of games on it. I was playing, a bunch of them. They all look great. It's a, the way they set it up, it's a nice little system. Whether or not it's worth it, I also have I made myself a RetroPie, which, basically does everything, and you can get, the equivalent of a Super Nintendo controller for it and stuff. But it's a nice little layer of polish on the stuff. So I don't mind it. I was having fun playing, Star Fox, which is very dated, at this point.
Oh yeah.
But I can also, put myself back at that time and say this was on a cartridge on a 16-bit system that was only used to doing, platformer games and stuff, so it's kind of impressive for what was being done at the time. But yeah, that was a struggle getting through that.
Did you jump into 2? I heard 2 was very different and kind of weird.
Yeah, that's what I have next. You had to play the first one and get through a level or two to unlock Star Fox 2. Which I'm not even sure. It isn't even the full game. Because it was a prototype, wasn't it?
It was as far as the game got done. It was halfway through development when it got canned, I think.
Yeah, so I don't even know how much is actually there, but that's the next thing I'm going to do when I fire it up is play through that to check that out. But yeah, it's got there's some really great games on there. Earthbound's on there. Secret of Mana. Those are a couple I'm going to play through again. All right, I never played Secret of Mana, so I want to play through that. Super Mario RPG is one that I never got to play. So I'm really looking forward to that. That was the Square-made Mario RPG game. So
there are so many RPGs of that style on that system, and I know I didn't touch half of them.
Oh yeah. But so they have some really good ones on there. So yeah, looking forward to playing more of that.
Cool.
Trying to think if there's anything else. I thought there was one more game I was playing.
Something on an actual handheld as opposed to your big handheld?
Yeah. Yeah, I was playing stuff on the Game Boy Color again. Wario Land 2 I was playing.
I never got the obsession with those games, but they in many ways are a precursor to a lot of the mobile games we have now. So
what?
WarioWare games.
No, not Wario. Wario Land.
Wario Land.
Yeah, it's a proper platform.
It's a regular platform. Okay, yeah.
It's actually it's honestly one of the best ones I've ever played. To be honest, it was it was funny. You could get a bunch of different abilities by absorbing other stuff. So it also uses my favorite gameplay mechanic of all time.
Basically, make a Kirby clone, and Dave will love it.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize I never quite realized that pattern before. But yeah, but it's it's a platformer Mario style with a lot of secrets and everything like that, and you're hunting for gold coins and everything because it's Mario and he's greedy. So if we want to do a real throwback, yeah, everybody should play that game.
So not to hang on Mario, and I'm sure everybody's heard all the Mario stuff that they want to hear, but the coins are handled quite differently in this one, right? They're actually used as a currency as opposed to just one up, because there's no lives, right?
There's no lives, and whenever you die, it gets deducted from your coins. I have no idea if it's even possible to run out of coins. I'd imagine that'd be really tough to do. So like maybe there is an actual end to the game if you can do that. I have to like try and experiment, see if I can start up a new game and see if I can do that just for kicks to see what happens. But it is an actual currency in the game too. Like you can actually buy stuff from the store. So like when you go to different kingdoms, each kingdom has a store. So you can go to the store, and when you're in there, there's like, every level has like standard stuff. Like, you buy like one, moon that you just buy in the store for 100 coins. But then there's like unlockable costumes. So you can buy like, costumes in the store, and they're not just cosmetic. They actually do unlock things in the level sometimes for you. Like sometimes you have to be dressed a certain way to get into a room. So you need to actually, buy a lot of these things to, get past certain stuff. A lot of stuff is just cosmetic. Like it's just like funny, to have it. Like, half the time I run around in a cowboy hat and boxer shorts just because I think it's funny. And, so that's good stuff. There's, there's two different stores. There's like the regular coins, and then there's the purple coins that you collect in the levels that are, a separate form of currency that also unlocks costumes and like stickers for your airship and, little, stuff to decorate your room in the airship, when you go in there. So like, completely you know, non-functioning, baubles, to collect, but, something else to do with the coins instead of just collecting them.
So do you think this is Nintendo easing into microtransactions or kind of thumbing their nose at microtransactions? Or none of the above, and just the way they decided to implement coins?
I think it's just the kind of way they went to go. Nintendo already does, I already say they do a type of microtransaction, as far as the amiibo go. And, I spent, whatever the $30 on the amiibo set they had, for the game because it's awesome. They actually do look really cool. Like I have seriously, check out the Bowser. I mean, that's just awesome. He's just in, white and purple suit and everything. But just looks like complete badass.
He's a pimp.
Yeah. And every time, you pop him on, it actually locates like, purple coins you haven't found yet in the level. And it points you in the direction, a general direction of where to find them. So it's pretty useful. You tap the Mario one, you get invincibility. You tap the Peach one, she gives you extra life, extra hearts basically. So it's like they're extremely useful to have.
So yeah, that was another thing. Yeah, obviously amiibo enabled. Is there any amiiboing in the Fire Emblem Warriors?
Something, I haven't really looked at that yet.
Okay.
I'm sure there is because I know they have Fire Emblem amiibo out there. I don't have any of them, so I'll have to, pop them on the little chip I have, which is awesome.
I'll have to have Keegan explain to you how to play the game without amiibos someday.
I know how to. I don't care. It's there. I want to do it. It's just that's the way I work. Oh, I can get a gold suit Mario if I tap the gold Mario to the thing. Okay, I want to run around as gold Mario. You need the amiibo to do that. So, or at least a file of the amiibo to do that. So,
hey, now let's not be promoting any sorts of circumventing of cash transaction.
Hey, if they were available, I would do it. That's on Nintendo.
That is a whole subject probably for another day to go into.
That's just I'm sure that'll be a fun one for Mark next week. We can talk about that.
Mark's never coming back. You realize that now.
It might not, but
never coming back.
So we're supposed to talk about football now, then, right?
Oh, don't talk about football. No, I understand you guys are having a great year. Congratulations, but
no, that's depressing.
That Monday night game was just.
I was there. I saw it. It was depressing. I didn't like seeing that at all. I mean, granted, I don't want to face him in a playoff situation, so.
I don't think he'll come back. I think they'll let him just ride the rest of the season and try to get healthy for next year, unless all of a sudden they can turn something around and still be viable for the playoffs.
We're talking about football.
Yeah, we are talking about football. That would be the 1 minute Mark actually tunes in. No!
I'm waiting for his face to pop up any second.
Stop talking about football. So have you been watching anything? Checked out any movies?
I saw Thor.
Yeah. Thoughts?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It probably is in my top 3 Marvel movies, I'm sure.
Nice.
I have to really sit down and think about it, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I needed a really fun movie.
Yeah.
And that really hit the spot.
See, now, that was the Guardian of the Galaxy 2 sequel we deserved.
Again, I didn't hate the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 sequel.
But this was better than that.
Oh, it was better than that. Yeah. It was definitely better than that.
All right. Well, at least we can agree on that.
Yeah. I'm not going to say, I'm not saying that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was a perfect movie and it was awesome and it was the best thing ever. I'm just saying it's not as bad as you're saying it is.
I think it really is, but that's okay.
It really isn't.
If I can ever force myself to sit through it again, we'll see. Maybe it was a bad night. I don't know.
I'm thinking it was a bad night because like you're saying something like, oh, that scene went on for like 5 minutes too long. That scene was 10 seconds.
Yeah, but at that point, 10 seconds was like 5. Seriously, those guys bounced how many times on those traps? Seriously, it was like 10.
No.
Yeah, it was like 10, and 4 of them were in slow motion.
Oh, you're being too harsh on it.
And like I said, that movie and I got off on the wrong foot. That intro just, I was almost ready to be done after that opening sequence.
Again, I was fine with that too.
You just have no taste, so that we can just go from there.
I love that song. I loved watching Groot run around. I'm sorry, I'm a simple man. So yeah, Thor was awesome. Definitely lived up to the hype. I was really happy with that. I saw Blade Runner the other week. I probably haven't been on since I've seen Blade Runner, or did I? I don't know.
I don't remember
about that. That was an amazing movie. Caught up on. Wait, am I caught up on Flash? I think there's a new one on the DVR now. Yeah,
relatively caught up.
Someone was caught up on Flash. I'm probably just not on this week's episodes of stuff, but I'm reasonably caught up on the CW stuff, except for Legends, because that's not on the DVR anymore. I don't know if that one's even worth watching at this point.
Because you chose not to record it, or because it?
I think somebody messed with the schedule and deleted that show because of conflicts. There might have been like 3 things on that night or something like that, and I just said whatever, just delete my show.
Just Netflix that one at the end of the season.
Yeah, and that's the kind of show. Like I think, I'll admit, it lost a little bit after Captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Cold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Snart. And,
Michael.
Yeah. It lost a little bit after he left the show, I'll be honest, because he was my favorite part of it. So, I kind of catch it casually. at this point. But yeah, everything else like Supergirl, Arrow, I'm even actually caught up on. Flash has been hilarious this season. They actually, I mean, there's a noticeable change. Like they've really been shooting for more comedy this season.
Hmm.
I'm not sure why that decision was made or whatever, but it's definitely, you can tell it's intentional.
I know last season seemed to be getting panned a lot, like critically. I'm still early in last season, so I can't say if I agree or disagree with that. But I wonder if that was just, people felt it was going a little too grim dark or something. Or
No, I think I mean, last season was kind of dark, and I can see them wanting to get out of that. But the way they've been doing it has actually been pretty fun. So
cool.
So I'm really cool with that. Yeah, I think that's all for right now. I haven't caught like Stranger Things 2 yet or anything like that. I'm way behind on stuff.
Yeah, nobody has. The only person I've been able to talk Stranger to with is my oldest son. He's the only person I know who's watched the whole thing. I mean, obviously other people have, but in my ridiculously small circle of people that talk to about this kind of stuff, yeah,
I want to, but it's just not happening yet.
Yeah. So, well, since we're already like an hour in, and okay, well, we're not an hour in, we're only 40 minutes in, but I suppose I should get through my stuff here quick. Not that I have a plan for the rest of the evening, so we could just keep going like this for quite a while. Let's see, hit the things quick that you did already. Saw Thor, whole family went to see that. We all enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was great. It is definitely a tonal shift from the first two Thor movies.
Well,
but
definitely from the first one, because the first one was like the day the earth stood still.
Yeah.
which I personally loved, but I understand nobody else did.
Well, yeah, I did too. I think that's one of those ones where you and I are both like, yeah, that was really good. We enjoyed it. But again, understanding we're coming from a different perspective than a lot of folks. So
yeah, I mean, I can watch sci-fi that's slow and story driven.
Like it's actually supposed to be. Have you read any of the classics?
Yeah. The second movie, I thought like they definitely went, they added some more humor into it and stuff. So I can see the direction, they were going. And I thought it was really good, like the stuff that they were doing in that. But this one, they just went all out. And
yeah, that I can't remember the director's name, but he's the New Zealander
totally
guy, but
yeah.
He's just a goofy son of a gun. I mean,
he's one of my favorite people in the world right now.
When you hear Korg's voice for the first time, just about fell out of my chair.
I didn't realize that was a director. I was just like, when he started talking, I was just like, this guy's great. And I didn't even realize that was a director doing that. It was hilarious. But
oh my gosh.
But I didn't realize that he did like Flight of the Conchords episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've apparently been a fan of this guy for a long time.
Yeah, it's not a name that I had any recognition with.
No, I didn't know, and I didn't look it up either. I just
said a file or anything, but yeah, but you start listening to interviews with him and stuff, and you're just like, all you can do is laugh.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
They let everybody improv scenes. Like 80% of the dialogue was improv.
Which but it had a natural feel to it while being comedic and everything. I mean, it felt natural. Is the only thing I can really say is it just everything flowed very well. It didn't. I think not sounding scripted really was a boon for that movie.
Yeah,
it just because it just was kind of one chaos thing to the next chaos thing. It's just kind of like
it's definitely different. Like you see like the original Avengers that had like Whedon has very well scripted dialogue,
right?
That's witty, and the actors can pull it off and everything, and it's really good and it works. But you can definitely see the difference between something like that where it's just like that's pure Whedon, and this where it's just like man, these guys are just having a good time.
Yeah.
So that really showed shone through, and I think that was really good. And who would have thought that Thor would be the funniest Avenger?
Not the strongest. That was.
Yeah. But like when all this started, like you would have never thought that he was going to be the funny one.
Yeah, no.
Like Iron Man's going to be the funny one. Like that's just going to be the way this is. Everything like no, Thor's actually the funniest one, and that's awesome.
I firmly believe Ruffalo ad-libbed every single one of his lines. I don't think he did a scripted line in that entire movie.
No, and he's awesome.
He is.
I remember being really upset when I heard that they were recasting Edward Norton because I'm a huge Ed Norton fan.
But that actually worked out really well.
And I just remember my face and it was like, man, they recasted, they recast Banner. And I'm like, no, you had Ed Norton. What are you doing? It's Mark Ruffalo. Okay. Never mind. Sorry.
Never mind. We're okay now. All's well here.
Like I didn't even have to see anything. I was like, "Oh, Mark Ruffalo's gonna do it." Oh, okay. We're totally good with this. Like, and he just knocks it out of the park. Yeah, he's just.
Yeah, I can't talk about it anymore without we're already spoiler edges there. So sorry, anyone who hasn't watched it yet, but definitely worth the time. Definitely worth whatever it costs you for your average seat of admission. If you don't do theaters, please do view this one as soon as possible via whatever legitimate means you use to procure movie entertainment.
If you like having fun.
Yeah. If you enjoy laughing and can enjoy a nice sci-fi. And that's the other thing too. Who would have ended up thought Thor would be like a sci-fi title, right? Yeah. I mean, like a science fantasy Star Wars-esque thing,
But it kind of makes sense because I was reading like a background article on like the stuff they drew inspiration from, and oh God, I forget the guy's name. There's one writer who did like a really good run on Thor, and they used like a lot of his kind of like imagery and inspiration, and the guy was like heavily influenced by like the Jack Kirby era stuff, so like everything kind of looked weird. I remember seeing like the different. The different people and stuff that were very recognizable from like the old kind of comics, especially as far as like the, I guess like the cosmic kind of, stuff like with the outfits and everything like that. So they were really kind of like going for it.
Mm-hmm.
I know people were complaining that like, Games Master didn't have blue skin, but I'm just like, who cares? Like it's Jeff Goldblum. It's fine. Yeah.
They didn't need it. That was, I don't want to even touch that. But if anyone is interested, there are 2 stingers. There's a mid-credits and a closing credits stinger. So if you're interested in those, you know the drill by now.
Yeah.
It's always interesting. You see the people that get up right as soon as the last, you're like, where are you going?
Yeah, haven't you?
Why, friend? Why? Don't you know by now? It's not over yet. So yeah, that was the big thing over the last couple of weeks. I've actually been cranking a lot of hours into Horizon Zero Dawn because I fully intended to have that game done before the DLC came out. And guess what, Dad? No.
Yeah.
That's out, and I'm not done. So I have cranked quite a few hours into it. I'm still, I think, pretty early in it, and I'm already level 35, which is like as high as most people finish the game.
Nice.
So this should be interesting.
So you play like I do.
Wrong? Yes, I play very wrong.
It's like, I got to explore every nook and cranny of the game, and like,
let's just say I have almost all of the main collectibles, except for the one that you can't get, which is in a story mission building.
Nice.
It became very clear very quickly that I better not go into here. This is something later, and I'm going to mess something up if I do this. So I've just backed out. Now, having said that, there is a ton of audio files and text files and stuff that I have not found in the game yet. But I've only done one cauldron. If you've played the game, you know what that means. So I'm guessing there's a bunch of those in the other cauldrons and stuff. So
Yeah, I really need to get back into that one too. I need to take a break. I think after the holiday season, I'm gonna do what you did last year, where you're just like, I'm not buying anything. I'm just playing through stuff I have.
yeah, next year might be a lot of that too, because I didn't get nearly as far as I had hoped to in this whole period. But yeah, sucks being old and limited time and stuff. So some of the other stuff, it's actually been pretty slow game wise. I did still cranking a fair number of hours into Skyforce Anniversary Edition. That's the vertical scrolling shooter. I finished the last story mission. I haven't finished the last bonus mission, and I haven't cleared all the medals on all the difficulties. I don't know how much more time I'll pour into this. I'm maybe till I get all the cards. And we'll see. There's no platinum, so I don't really feel like I have to finish it. But so yeah, it's that. And then I tried. We talked about this a while ago, but I tried the Fishing Planet beta. I think it's a beta, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's horrible. I Fishing Planet. Yeah, it's kind of a MMO fishing game, sort of. And I enjoy fishing. I mean, I actually enjoy like going fishing physically in the world, really. I know you're a fan of fishing mini games. Yeah, this isn't like either of those things, and it just kind of really sucks. The interface sucks. The fishing sucks. The graphics weren't that great. Yeah, I played like a couple of things at the beginning in the first little tutorial lake, and I'm like, yep, nope, delete. So I found nothing redeeming about it. Others may.
Why would you even waste time on that with the glut of good stuff we have?
It was morbid curiosity.
Okay, all right. I'll buy. I'll accept that.
I was like, this can't possibly be good, can it?
I'll completely accept that because I've done that before.
I fortunately did not feel like, because it was free, right? So I just downloaded it. I fortunately did not have the feeling of, well, I downloaded this, I need to do something with it. It was like, nope, delete. Nice. So I was able to execute some self-control there. Then this month, yesterday, relative to our podcast recording time here, was the drop of the November Plus titles. So I tried out the R-Type, was it R-Type Legacy or R-Type something? It's basically R-Type 1 and 2 with original graphics, and then you can also use upscale graphics. So it's upscale graphics, and or you can actually, you hit, I think it's triangle in game, and it goes back to the old 16-bit style graphics. Yeah, I kind of forgot how unforgiving that game is.
Yeah, R-Type's no joke.
Yeah, they're hard. They are very hard. There's a couple of different modes. You can go with no lives modes, or all infinite lives, however you want to say that. So I mean, you can just keep going and going and going. You can do the classic 3 lives, a couple of different other modes,
which is just impossible at this point.
Yeah. My old man reflexes could not keep up with that pokey little ship. I could not make that thing go where I wanted it to.
Well, there's a couple things working against it. Like, first of all, this thing was designed as a coin op.
Yeah. So it was designed to kill you and eat your quarters.
Right. You know, I mean, this was a game that was designed to eat your quarters. So I'm almost like, you know, how can you shoehorn that into 3 lives with not being able to continue indefinitely? I mean, granted, yes, you can get that good at the game, but the game's designed to be putting quarters.
Yeah. And they're pretty gracious with the continues. I mean, it is 3 lives, but then you continue, but you lose all your power-ups.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I got as far as the first boss, the first level. That's as far as I got after like half an hour of futzing with this thing. I got to the first boss, and then I was like, oh yeah, this guy's a pain in the butt and miserable. I'm not going to do any more of this. And then I shut it down. But yeah, I'll probably go back to it every once in a while when I feel that itch. But yeah, I mean, I was always more of a fan of the vertical than the horizontal shooters. But you know, if I was going to play a horizontal, I'd much rather go to a Gradius or a
Thunder
what's the other
Force.
one? Yeah, Thunder Force or something like that. Then R-Type. That's if you just really want to feel like you suck at games.
Yeah, it's
but like you said, it was designed to make you suck. I mean, it was
right.
designed to be unfair.
But I also do love the mechanic of, the whole that I forget what they call the thing, like the big nodule.
Was it a force? I think is that what they call it? The force.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
But like being able to like fire that off and like shoot things like multiple directions. Like I mean, there's so much strategy behind it.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly complex game. I mean,
considering the time it came out,
too,
was just incredibly innovative. Especially compared to what like most everybody else was doing. So
yeah, it was. And then also one of the big PS4 games that came out for this month was Bound, which is better known as that ballet game by most people. It's weird. It's weird. I mean, I get what it's doing. I get it. Quick look at the trophy list, and it's basically designed to speedrun. I guess that's basically what the idea behind the game is to get through the levels as quickly as possible. Which is totally counter to how I play games. I'm an explorer. I'm every nook and cranny kind of thing.
Yeah, that's my big problem with games.
But yeah, the game for the most part does not really reward you for that. There are alternate paths or hidden paths through the level, again, facilitating that speedrun mentality. There's not really any combat to speak of. It's a game about it's a very low res artistic, I guess if you want to say, game about emotional trauma and fighting it with dance.
Sweet.
So I mean, I know what the game's saying and what it's doing. There's context around what's going on. It's not vague, but it's non-narrative, right? You have to interpret everything you see,
right?
And then you're given a sort of a decoder ring to tell you whether or not you were right with what you thought you saw was what it was or not.
Nice.
And then end level and do it again. So I mean, I get what it's doing. I understand it. I hate to say it's boring, but it's kind of boring. Again, it's an experience game. You're getting through this thing. It's okay. I'm only 2 levels in. It's not particularly hard. Again, with no combat, really, you're just progressing through the level. And again, it kind of seems to facilitate that whole speed run mentality. But I need something to motivate me to go through a game. And so far, I haven't found anything to motivate me to go through this game because as far as I can tell, I figured the whole thing out already.
Nice.
It's not like I need to get through this to explain to me what it is that's going on. It's kind of like you're sitting through that movie where you know exactly what's going to happen the whole movie. And you're like, I'm not entirely sure where I'm sitting here because I know exactly how this is going to play out. You just hope that it's enjoyable along the way. And yeah, so far it wasn't unenjoyable, but it just wasn't. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I need you to play a couple levels of this so you can sympathize with what I've tried to say because it's incredibly difficult to put into words.
No, I think I know what you're trying to say because I've played games like that where it's just kind of like, it's more of an experience game than an actual game.
Right.
Where you're just supposed to be kind of like along for the ride. Which
kind of like Gone Home, in that respect, but I still felt more invested and more participatory in Gone Home than I do in Bound.
Yeah.
Oh, did you play Gone Home?
I have not.
Okay.
Most of my stuff like that, came from that game company like Flower or Journey.
Yeah. And Journey would be a good allegory to it. Except again, I felt more invested in that little cloth dude running through the desert than I do. I totally lost it. The duo with the robot heads.
The duo with the robot heads.
Music. Did the soundtrack to Tron 2. Daft Punk. Thank you.
Oh, Daft Punk.
You know,
I was thinking games. So I'm like,
no, yeah, I know, no, but the character you play, well, actually, all the characters in the game part of the game have masks similar to that.
oh,
Which made
gotcha.
me think of the Daft Punk princess that you're controlling in Bound. Anyway, that's enough about that game. It's not new, right? There is a VR component, so this month you actually do get 2 VR titles if you have a PSVR, because they have Until Dawn, Carnival of Blood, I believe is the title, is this and next month, I believe, available for download. And then Bound has a VR component also with it. It also does stereoscopic 3D, which not many games do anymore. So if you still have a 3D TV, as I do, you can throw those glasses on and
I'll have to check that out.
play Bound in 3D. Okay, let's see. What else did I do? That was pretty much it on the game front. Been really trying to focus on doing Horizon. If I have game time that I feel like playing, it's a tricky balance because my wife really wants to watch as much of the game as possible. So I been playing some off-hour stuff, doing some fetch questy stuff that she's not necessarily as interested in. But you got to really be careful because some of those side quests are actually, it's hard to actually define them as side quests because they kind of really integrally tie into what's going on. So yeah. I did watch Stranger Things season 2. A lot of controversy going on with that one. A lot of folks either not liking it as well as the first one, all the way down to just flat out not liking it. Ian is, for example, struggling to get through it. A lot of people seem to peter out about episode 4 or 5 and just kind of say, okay, never mind. That was something I was worried about with the season 2 of something like Stranger Things. Stranger Things felt like one of those lightning events, it struck once, can it really strike again? And I guess what I would say is by the having watched all of the episodes, it can, but it's about 2 miles that way and a way weaker Bolt. It was good. I enjoyed it, but again, everything was new the first time, right? You were learning everything. Everything was new. Everything was kind of not necessarily a mystery, but it was unknown, right? And here, you pretty much know most of what's going on, and it's really about trying to build the characters and trying to develop them, but still keep those elements that made them popular in season 1. Sometimes that succeeds, sometimes not so much. I personally loved the dynamic between 2 characters. I can't say that's kind of been a bit divisive amongst people, but again, being a parent, I'm not sure that makes it different for me than others, but I've noticed that before about some things where as a parent, you view certain things differently than non-parents. The overall, decent arc. There are a couple of things that they definitely point to for where a season 3 could go. I assume it's done well enough that a season 3 will in fact happen. But I encourage folks to get through it. I think it concludes successfully. I think it's episode 7 is the one that has been written about a lot. It's kind of a side story episode, if you will. I think it's great. I personally loved it. His Millie Bobby Brown that plays 11, or can't say the other part. I think she gives a really good performance there. And it sets it up very well for the ending. personally, okay, yeah, I understand the arguments, but it worked for me. I'm assuming that means it'll work for others. But anyway, yeah, I'd say check it out.
And you're notoriously really tough on sequels, so
I am, especially with characters that I love. And again, that rocket scene, everything but the bouncing scene was great. It was just that bouncing scene that just, I rolled my eyes so hard I about fell out of my chair.
dude,
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Being a little tough on it.
Now the other thing that I'm watching that absolutely nobody likes, little show called Inhumans. Oh man.
Yeah, I didn't even bother with that one.
I know I have to, because I need to understand these things, because I don't, if I listen to your review of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I would think it's a great movie. So I can't trust the opinions of others.
When did I say it was a great movie? I just said it wasn't as bad as you're saying.
I know, I'm ribbing.
No, what Inhumans? I'm really upset too, because I wanted to see Lockjaw.
Yeah, and Lockjaw is great. I mean, they must have blown their entire almost non-existent special effects budget on Lockjaw. Because
is he in it a lot, or is he?
He's in it a fair amount. I would say, okay. Unfortunately, they really do pretty much only bring him out when somebody needs to teleport. So that is an unfortunate aspect of it. But he's in, I think, almost every episode, in one capacity or another. So I mean, he's got a decent amount of screen time, but not to the level that you or I would have preferred. My big thing is there's a story there that done properly could have been a great thing, I think. I don't know if they got some 8th grader who likes to doodle in his margins to direct this thing. And I'm pretty sure a spastic sea monkey edited it together. But I some of the choices I just can't fathom. And it's not like, I'm not familiar with any of the actors in this aside from dude playing Maximus. Can't think of his name right now. He was in Game of Thrones. And but I mean, there are scenes where you see each of the characters acting well. And then there's a lot of scenes where you see them not acting well. And I don't know if it was directional choice. I don't know if it was rushed. I don't know if it was short budgeted. I don't know what.
They're just like, guys, we need to get this done.
That's kind of what it feels like. And some of the editing decisions in the last, I haven't watched the final episode, but the last couple of episodes, it's just like, did you just finally say, screw it, I don't care, we've got to get this done and in a can and out the door and whatever, just splice whatever you can find together. There are just some cuts that it's like, I went back and forth on my DVR like a couple of times, like I must have skipped over something. No, I didn't. What in the, this doesn't make any sense. They drag out stuff. It probably should have been 4 episodes. It should have been directed by someone competent. And again, apologies to whoever the director is, whoever the show lead is. I honestly don't know, but this was just not good. Now I don't give it the level of hate that a lot of folks do, because I do see moments where things come together. I do see times where things are done well. They made some decisions that I may not agree with personally, would have been my preference, but I understand why the show did them. And it could have made for a very effective story point. except that they miss using that almost every single time. um, and yeah, there's a moment that you're supposed to find very poignant in the show, and even my love for the characters from the comics couldn't get me to give a crud about it. It was like I don't know. Nope, I don't. Not to mention it makes no sense, and that's part of it too. Is just a lot of the stuff just doesn't make sense. And I don't know if these things could have been fixed in post. I don't know if this. I don't know where this fell apart or why. They would do this thing with the IMAX premiere and make this big thing that they're leading into Agents of Shield with, which is a far and away better show. I just don't know. I don't know where this thing went wrong. And again, maybe you're just going to come and say, well, Inhumans was just a wrong thing to do. And maybe you're not wrong. Maybe it just was a bad decision to go with. But the thing is I see the elements. I see the pieces there. And in my brain, where I think I'm a semi-competent constructor of stories, I put them together in a way that is just infinitely better. Maybe not great, but infinitely better than what we got. And it's disappointing because we know that they can do so much better. Anyway, I probably spent way too long talking about that. Do you have any questions about Inhumans? Probably not, because you probably don't care.
You covered it.
And having said that, I'm still watching it. So I will watch the final episode so we can see. They're still calling it a season finale, not a series finale. So
Nice.
Are they going to try to do something, or are they going to incorporate it into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I did hear a rumor that one or two of the characters could be guest spotting in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which would be interesting to see how differently they come off in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., knowing that staff and what they can do with what they've got versus whatever it was that they did Inhumans with.
I'm wondering if this is like just going to annoy people because like they could have used Black Bolt in the movies.
Right. Oh, that's another thing. His name is actually Black Bolt, which is not his name really in the comics. That's not his actual name. Like all of their code names from the Inhumans are their actual names in the show. It's like,
that's awesome.
That's okay, sure, why not?
That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, the other Marvel show that's currently on, The Gifted. Have you been watching this one at all?
The what?
The Gifted, the X-Men spinoff.
I watched like the first couple episodes of it on demand.
Okay.
It didn't seem that bad actually.
No, it's much better than I had initially given any hope that it could be. It's still struggling to get out of that like late 90s sci-fi show trope. I don't even know how to explain what I mean by that. I'm hoping you can kind of track with me on that one. It wants to be a drama, but it wants to be actiony, but it wants to be personable, and it wants to be a family story, but it wants to be about issues. It's
trying to bite off a lot.
It's trying to bite a lot off. I think the look of some things radically shifted. Well, not radically, but it took a while to settle some things in, right? I think now, and we're in episode 6 or so. I think they've kind of settled in on some of this is how things are going to look, or this is how things are going to be. They've already got to that point where, okay, we showed you all the flashy effects before. Now we're just going to shine a light off stage, off camera, and you're going to know that power went off because we're flashing the same color at you that you saw before when we spent all the money on the fancy special effects.
Nice.
So, you can see some of that budget TV budget stuff coming in there. Which is the one thing for me that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. never really seemed to do. They seem to use a lot of assets from the movies and have a fairly robust FX budget that they used really well.
I'm wondering if that's going to get cut. since the show's not like the ratings darling it started off being.
Yeah, and that could be part of with the new setting. Is that part of why they have that new setting is to
Dumb it down a bit.
get that down a bit. So that'll be interesting to see. Starting in December, I think the show starts. But yeah, overall, the characters aren't all great. They're settling in. I see, but again, the show still has potential. And I know for someone like Ian, you're telling me that 6 episodes in of an hour-long show on network TV that you're seeing potential of things.
Yeah,
he would be having a coronary.
it's. I mean, there's so many shows like that wouldn't even be like. I mean, people like some of the best shows, the most beloved shows out there, like Seinfeld, Cheers, like some of the classic shows would not have lasted in today's climate.
No.
Like you need to hit on all cylinders right away and in a big way. So I almost feel bad for shows like that don't, click right away with stuff because sometimes it does take a little bit to, hell, Star Trek Next Generation.
Oh, season 1 is rough.
My God. Like it was literally the only way that show made it is because it really was the only thing on at the time in that kind of genre.
Right. Man, I watched Encounter at Farpoint recently. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did young me deal with it? Like, oh, thankfully they got rid of that. Now hear this, because he says that like 87 times in Encounter and Farpoint.
Is that Encounter Farpoint? Is that the one where Q first shows up?
Yeah, that's the 2-part.
Yeah,
the 2-parter premiere, series premiere. Yeah,
yeah, and I'm still okay with that because Q's in it, but it is rough.
It's rough. John, what's his name?
John Delancey.
Delancey, yeah.
I still remember.
I want to say Larroquette, and I'm like, no, that's not right. That's the wrong.
I still remember when I bought my first laptop was a compact, and they did the Q from Star Trek,
right?
And when I fired up the laptop, it was like, "Hi, I'm John Delancey." Like what?
And the even more hilarious thing is I don't know if you know this, but my mom watched Days of Our Lives, and he was a long-running character on Days of Our Lives. Eugene, the eccentric inventor.
That's awesome.
God, the fact that I remember that. He was married to Calliope. Why do I know this?
Because we know dumb stuff, and that's just what we do.
I drink and I know stupid stuff, which tonight is true.
Cheers.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it. I'm not sure where it's going right now. It could be one of these kind of bait and switch shows, right? It's set up like it's going to be this forever, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of set up that way too. Like this show is going to be this thing. And then that bridge episode happened and everything after it was different. I'm kind of waiting to see if this show has that moment. If it has that moment and it clicks over and, oh, this is what this show really is, I think it'll do fine. If it tries to say that the template it's established now, that's the show, I don't know that it'll see a season 2. They've already ordered a full season, so it's going to go a full season. But I don't know that it'll see a season 2. But it's definitely got that potential. They've got some, they've got a couple of characters that are known, Thunderbird, John Proudstar, and Polaris. I should know her name. He only says it like 5,000 times an episode. Lorna.
Dane.
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 Well, Lorna Dane. So those are the kind of the two known, from the comics. The rest of the characters may have been. I mean, there's billions of X-Men characters over the years, so some of them may have been in the comics somewhere. But the rest of the main characters, I think, are show unique or so little known from the comics they may as well be show unique. Amy Acker is in it. She does great.
As always.
I mean, you almost can't give her any role and have her not do well in it. The daughter is really shifted it around episodes 5 and 6. She's really fallen into character. The kid playing the son, not quite so much yet. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, talked a really long time about that. This one was in one of those Facebook lists, the 6 shows or something like that the critics hate but people love. The Good Doctor. That's my wife loves watching medical shows, whether they be accurate medical or drama medical, and this definitely falls into the latter category. It's actually based on a Korean TV show. I noticed that when the credits were rolling the other day. Like, okay.
I thought the elevator pitch for the show was, okay, House, but like not funny.
House, younger, still an asshole, but not on purpose. So yeah, you've got this autistic, I guess, a kid, if you want to call him that. He's, what do they say? He's autistic and has savant syndrome. So, but he's self-care, right? So he can take care of himself. He lives in his own apartment and stuff, and passed medical school. Gets hired at this hospital as a surgical resident, and then basically it's another surgical resident show, but unlike Grey's Anatomy where there's like 47 of them, there's just these 3 residents that we're following with 1 attending. So it's a bit more manageable. It's got some good beats. It's crisis of the week type show at the moment. Will it evolve beyond that, or will it develop?
It's a medical show. It shouldn't.
It won't terribly, right? But they've set some plants, some seeds, and see where it goes. I know my wife's really enjoying it. I'm easily able to watch it. It doesn't grind on me or grate the wrong way or anything. The biggest thing the show does do is it relies on character amnesia between episodes.
Nice.
It's like, you figured that out last. Why aren't? Never mind. Not Simpsons level, but still, like one of the characters had a breakthrough about how to talk to the autistic character. Next episode, they'd completely forgotten. Like, couldn't get break through the communication wall anymore. Like, you're doing all the things wrong that you figured out last episode. Which made me wonder if the shows were aired out of order, but then there was references to things that had happened previously, so they couldn't have been aired out of order. So it was just annoying. But and then I am still slowly working on Star Trek Enterprise. I finally got into that part where Mark said I should just start because that's where the show gets good. No, it didn't. It's really not any better after that point. Sorry, hold on 1 second. I have a
not a problem.
Have a daughter doing homework, and she's got a question, and I told her if she needed something to bug me, and she's bugging me. So yeah, and that pretty much rounds out my list. Now that we have been going on for an hour about what it is we've been doing. Let's see, when does Black Panther drop? Does that drop still this year, or is that next year? Is Star Wars the next big movie, or is that come before that?
Yeah, February 16th is Black Panther.
Okay.
Star Wars, Justice League comes out like what, next week?
Oh yeah, well, okay, yes, I should acknowledge that. Yes,
Which,
I have yet to watch a single one of the new DC movies. So yeah.
I sent an email to my buddy that I usually see all these movies with, and I was just like, dude, apparently this thing comes out on the 17th. I was like, are we? Is this going to be a thing? And he's like, honestly, I don't need to see it week 1. That's for sure.
You go to the app for premiere night, there's still open theaters. Like, they haven't even sold tickets.
Yeah, There's just not one trailer that makes me want to see that movie, and I feel bad because like I just feel bad. I feel bad for Ben Affleck.
I can't really feel I can't really feel bad. I don't know. That guy. I am Batman. I'm not Batman. I am Batman. I'm not going to be Batman. Maybe I'll be Batman. I don't know. Are you Batman? Who's Batman? I don't know.
I mean, I get it. It's like been poisoned to him. Like they just didn't like he was the only good thing about that movie, and even then, like there was things that they did to mess him up. It's just like
yeah, I know.
I remember like 30 seconds into the first Justice League movie, I was like, mother. And then I'm like, oh, dream sequence. Okay, we're
usually mean Batman versus Superman. Is that what you're?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. I haven't seen any of them. I do need to see Wonder Woman because it's outside of the timeline enough that I think I can watch that without.
I need to find. I bought it on Blu-ray and I can't find it. It's driving me up a wall.
Yeah, I remember you getting it too. It's like,
yeah, I got it. I couldn't wait to watch it, and I couldn't watch it like right away. And now I'm like, where'd the movie go?
Oh man, I hate that. So yeah, that's coming out. I mean, I hope it does well. That opening sequence of the one big trailer where it's like them, Wonder Woman busting in on some sort of crime going wrong. I don't remember if any of the other members were there or not. That scene looked promising. We know Whedon's done a lot with the movie, so it'll be interesting to see, is that going to be enough to get this back on track to be where DC and fans wants it to be, or is it too far gone? Do we need a universe reset to just do it?
It just seems like it's a lot to ask.
So, well, we should probably try to do some news.
There's no news.
There's no news. So last time we talked, and I'm sure a lot of folks have heard about this, but we talked about the shutdown of Visceral. Sounds like that's a really complicated story. Like there's been a lot published about it after the fact, and it sounds like that was a very complicated situation. As real life, adults realize almost everything is an incredibly complicated situation, especially when it comes to jobs and money. Yeah, again, I'm hoping most of those guys got hired on in, within EA and other studios, or, were snagged up by, something. Hopefully guys and gals, people, individuals, human beings, dogs, cats, whatever lived there. So yeah, I don't know if this thing is still going or not, or if it had its 5 minutes of flame, but apparently there was some type of bar trivia style app on iOS that got hot for like a hot second, and I don't know if it stayed or not because it was only iOS, and I own 0 iOS devices. So yeah, I have no idea. But anyway, Mark was obsessed with that for like a day at least. Yeah,
those things usually go hot for like a week, and then that's it.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's kind of what happened with it. Apparently there's a live action Contra movie and TV series that's going to be released worldwide. Had never heard of such a thing, and I'm not going to look at it any more than that because, whatever. Mark is super excited because Showtime, in its attempt to get its Game of Thrones killer of its own, has ordered a series based on the Kingkiller Chronicles, which is one of his favorite book series. Apparently the guy writes slower than Martin, though, because it's only a trilogy and it's already taken like 12 years to write.
Dude, that stuff's hard.
Writing? Yeah, I know writing's hard, but geez, when you get paid for it for a living and that's your full-time job, dude.
Yeah, but once you make one popular book, it's just like, oh, I gotta do it. I gotta do more good stuff.
There's pressure there, and it's not natural anymore. And yeah,
God, Ready Player One.
Right. They had the sequel that was,
Awful.
yeah.
It was funny. It was almost like he read all the complaints, all the unwarranted complaints of Ready Player One, and actually incorporated those complaints into his follow-up book, Armada.
So injected the complaints that really weren't valid for the first one and made them valid in the second one.
Yes.
Interesting. That's a tactic, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I mean, literally, like people are saying, like, oh, like Ready Player One was just like, line, 80s reference, line, 80s reference. And it really wasn't. Like, it flowed really well in Ready Player One. But literally in Armada, it completely was, just, dialogue. I need the hammer and a reference here. And then blah, 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 blah. I need the hammer and another reference here because it's been 5 sentences. And it just didn't flow like the other one did. So it just kind of was like, yeah, this isn't working at all. Maybe the movie will be better.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not holding out a lot of hope for the movie, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get the book read before the movie comes out. So,
what, Ready Player One?
Yeah,
that might be a good thing.
It could be, and read the book as a follow up. And
yeah, I'm curious as to when's that coming out?
Summer, I think.
Is that next summer?
I think it's next summer.
All right, so I got time for a reread.
We could do a quick fact check on that.
Well, if it's coming out in the summer, you got time to read it.
Not the rate I'm reading things at. Ready Player One release date. I cannot type very quickly with one hand. March. Not summer, spring, late spring.
Oh, that's weird.
So that doesn't show that the studio seems to have a lot of faith in it, but
yeah, it's a weird time to release something like that.
Yeah, but then again, all the video games released in January through March of this year were all great, so who knows? The world doesn't make sense anymore. Not that I have really gave any hope to this show or not, but Runaways is actually looking like it might not be bad. Yeah, not that I need another show to watch because that's coming soon, I think. Let me see if I can follow through on this one. And that's on Hulu, and I think it's going to do the whole drop everything. Oh no, not drop everything, but yeah, it starts November 21st, so it starts the week of Thanksgiving. So yeah, it's actually looking to be a fairly thematically, at least, honest to the comic, and like it's actually got a pretty good acting and production value in it. So Paris Games Week hit while we were out, and for the most part, we saw new stuff, but a lot of what we saw was new trailers for stuff we knew about with no launch dates. So for PlayStation specifically, at least, that was the only show that I saw, that any studio that had a show that I saw. The belief is, I think a lot of stuff will get announced at PSX, which is in like 4 weeks. So that'll be interesting to see. But it was still a lot of good stuff for things that we saw. There were a few things that we didn't see coming, and of course I didn't have any of them written down right now, so I can't even think of any of them. But there were a few things announced that were like, huh, didn't see that coming. A lot of VR support actually announced there, so it kind of feels like maybe Sony's making a push. There's several new bundles coming out. They've got the new hardware that does the HDR push through, although I know there's this article in here where they made a weird choice with that. Hellblade, which is that game done by Ninja Theory, not Ninja Studio, Ninja Theory, is that broke even after about 3 months. It has broken even and started, so now it's making a profit for a game that's essentially a small studio game with AAA level productions and about a very different subject than you normally see in video games. It's a pretty big achievement for them. So congrats to them. I will get around to buying your game someday. That's one of those games I've really regretted not being able to buy day one. Mark did Venom makeup for Halloween when he went to work, and he was the only one dressed up and was, yeah. Loot boxes. I don't know. Did we talk about loot boxes? I think we talked about loot boxes and the loot controversy, but that story's not going away anytime soon. Lots of executives saying, yeah, we're putting loot boxes and microtransactions in all of our games. So yeah, it's a thing that's going to be around to stay. It's just how we'll go on it. December 12th is the launch date for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on Xbox One. Speaking of Xbox One, the Xbox One X has launched. I don't think anybody's life was changed. It's the same games, just
I did actually see someone on my Facebook feed buy it.
Yeah, I've seen people buying it, so at least some people have bought it, and I'm sure they're enjoying it. It's the same thing though. Every time I think, man, I should really dig deep and find a way to get a Pro, and they're like, it plays the exact same games, and I don't have a 4K TV. Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's no reason.
So PS4 worldwide shipments have gone over 67.5 million units. Xbox One X was actually, or the Ox as I lovingly call it,
nice.
Was actually sold out in retailers across Japan because nobody thought people were going to want it, so they only filled the pre-order.
Nice.
So yeah. Another Marvel show that was out there that was supposed to show on Freeform, which is The New Warriors, has apparently lost its slot on Freeform. And so now Marvel and the studios are trying to find a place to put said show. So that show may be in trouble. Oh yeah, this is a personal one for you, so I'll let you talk about this one. There's a developer I think you have a bit of a fondness for that tends to make games in a style that you enjoy. They released a title to a couple of titles recently, actually, and met with great critical review, but apparently have not sold so well. It's a little studio by the name of Housemarque.
Oh yeah, this is sad.
And so, why don't you take it away?
So their specialty, their niche, was doing arcade style twin stick shooters, basically. So their most recent one was actually kind of like a take on Robotron, but it actually had what's the guy's name? Jarvis.
Yeah, Edward Jarvis.
Edward Jarvis. It actually had Edward Jarvis developing it with them. So you had the guy who created Robotron, the inventor of the twin stick shooter, with Housemarque, who revitalized the twin stick shooter in wonderful ways across various games. And they're calling it quits in that genre. I guess they went anywhere they could. I mean, I get it. Like, in a way, really how far can you go with the kind of stuff? I mean, how many of those kind of games do people really want, I guess? I tended to buy their stuff sight unseen just because, they've earned it with me. Mm-hmm. The last game was fantastic. Just looked amazing, played amazing.
And are you talking about Matterfall or the one whose name I can't think of off the top of my head?
Oh, oh my God, it's God,
the Robotron one though. That's the one you're talking about. Because Matterfall came out shortly after that.
Yeah, but I wasn't talking about Matterfall. Okay. I was talking about the.
Have you played Matterfall or?
Actually, have not played Matterfall yet.
Okay, neither have I. So I was just curious. Yeah, I can't think of the other one's name. But yeah, no, they've been a great developer. They've filled that niche well. It's sad that they're not making enough money to continue down that realm, but they can make games in another venue and then get enough where they feel like they've got enough capital to try again if they want. So
Next Machina.
Next Machina, there you go. Yeah. So they hope they're not done. They're not gone. They're just not doing that thing anymore that they're known for. So it'll be interesting to see.
It's a little pivot.
Yeah, pivot. I'm
curious of what they're going to do though, because they're like, oh, we're getting out of that genre, and it's just like that's a major switch for those guys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I assume it'll be another arcade style. Maybe they'll go to the beat 'em up. One of the games from Plus this month is a beat 'em up, and it's horrid. So the genre needs some help.
What's the game? It's hard.
Oh gosh, I don't remember. Dungeon Bros or something like that.
It's no good.
No, not really.
Nice.
It's trying to be Golden Axe, but fails. In my opinion. Yeah, the hit detection's not good. The animations are janky. Yeah, it's pretty weak.
Nice.
Now, granted, it's one of the games for Vita that also had a PS3 and PS4 version, and I played it on PS4. So if I played it on Vita, maybe it plays better on Vita than it does on PS4, but I doubt it. The flaws seem pretty baked into the control mechanism. The Final Dead. The Walking Dead, the Telltale Games, is announced that with season 4, it will conclude the series. So I still haven't gotten season 3 yet, hence the game of the year of no to almost no new games. I know it'll go on sale eventually, so I'll be able to pick it up for hella cheap and play through it. I enjoy those games. I enjoy the Telltale games. I haven't gotten to play Guardians of the Galaxy or the new Batman season. Or the season 3 of Walking Dead. So when
they put out a lot of stuff. I'm wondering how that doesn't hurt them.
Well, they did just announce they're cutting staff.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if it's related to that, or do they really just need to I don't know. Are they actually are they cutting into their own profits at that point, or is it just they think that people aren't going to buy they're covering genres because they know people that buy Batman may not buy, Walking Dead or something like that.
Right. I'm kind of unusual where I play all of their stuff almost. I haven't played them. I won't do the Minecraft one, but almost all of their titles I'll buy and I'll play. Honestly, I think what they're trying to do is build capital to do a new version of their engine. Is my guess. They did kind of blitz it here, and I don't know how buggy they've been because I haven't been playing them. That's one of the things that tends to plague the later episodes of series is they tend to get a little buggy.
Yeah.
So I know they do generally eventually fix those bugs too, because all the bugs I had in the last episode of Batman, when one of my kids finally got around to playing the last episode of the first season of Batman, those bugs weren't there anymore. It's a nice developer. It's a good genre. I like it because it kind of feels like I'm playing an old point and click adventure game, but it's a little more popcorny than the old ones. So it'll be nice to see how they tie that up. That's been a solid series for them, I think, and it'll be interesting to see if they, what licenses they grab subsequent to that to have a more adult themed one, because the rest of them I wouldn't say aren't adult themed necessarily, but they're not the Walking Dead level adult themed. So yeah, the PlayStation blog announced a new VR bundle for the PlayStation with Gran Turismo Sport included. Gran Turismo Sport, a game about cars and flashy colors and bright lights, and has specifically touted its HDR capabilities is being bundled with the headset version that doesn't pass through HDR.
That's really awesome.
I don't
Do
even.
you know why? Do you know why?
I'm guessing it was just piss poor timing, but
Because they know nobody's actually using that feature.
you can only either afford a 4K TV with HDR or a PSVR. You can't possibly afford both of those things.
It's just it's kind of like it's just not, the standards aren't really fully set yet for the stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing that really
So
kind of gets me. I really want to wait for OLED to settle out. I want to wait for all of these HDR standards to kind of get to a point where they're not changing every other week.
yeah, they have to bake the stuff in. I mean, I went through this before with people who were saying like, how do you not have an HD TV? I'm like, well, because I'm waiting for stuff, and they're like, what are you waiting for? And I'm like, I'm waiting for HDMI. They're like, oh, they have HDMI. And I'm like, no, they have one HDMI. You're going to need more HDMI ports. So you need something at least with multiple HDMI ports. I'm like, no, you don't. That's only going to need one, dude. Like, and I watched people, like, they would get stuff, and they would, to save money, they would get the ones that didn't even have HDMI. They just had, whatever the highest was right before that. I totally forget it.
Component cables, yeah.
Components still did 1080p.
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe it was only 1080i.
Either way, yeah. I mean, either way, that makes sense because not everything was 1080p yet either.
Right.
And those were the two things I was waiting for. Like I wanted, TV with that, and so I'm like a late adopter with TVs and stuff because it takes a while for that stuff to settle out. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a really expensive paperweight on your hands.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be behind on the display and then just get the right one at a good price.
So yeah, no, I agree. I'm with you there. My first HDTV was after the old 1080 thing settled out. Yeah, 2 HDMI ports. But then I was behind on my receiver, and I went several years with a receiver that didn't have HDMI, and finally replaced that. Of course, now that's behind the standard of 2 for, so it's like,
but receiver's a little easier because, I mean, you can always just like run, optical to it.
Yeah. Well, though optical won't support direct. Anyway, we can talk about that later. But yeah, the optical has its limitations too.
That's true.
So let's see a couple other things here. The studio behind the MMO Gigantic, who is also the studio that developed Torchlight, has shut down. More people are upset about the fact that there were normally be no more Torchlights than Gigantic failed.
Yeah, that's actually what I was upset at.
But
I actually played Torchlight, and I actually liked that game.
Yeah, I never did, but it sounds like it was a really solid series. And unfortunately, this is another case of a developer trying to chase that money, getting into that. I believe, was Gigantic I may have misspoke. Was Gigantic a hero shooter, or was it a MOBA?
I have no idea on that one.
Well, either one. If it was chasing the MOBA money or if it was chasing the Overwatch money, whichever one it was, just failed and killed it, kind of like it did to poor Cliffy B. Which I really feel genuinely bad about because I actually like Cliffy B. I like him, but just, poor dude. He's gonna have to go back to making chainsaw gun games.
Probably.
Overwatch during BlizzCon announced a new character. Okay, that's going to happen now for like the rest of our lives until the character page is like 4 pages long. I should probably know what this means, but Arc System Works opens a North American office. Apparently, they are a fighter game maker.
Yeah.
Behind Dragon Ball Fighters, and whatever else. I don't know. What is that? That's not BlazBlue.
Don't they Guilty Gear?
Guilty Gear. Yeah, you're right. That's Guilty Gear. we're going to continue to hear about issues with the size of games and the built-in storage capacity of the Switch. Yes, they didn't put any storage on it to speak of. Yes,
No.
they didn't. This is true.
Here's the thing with that. People are complaining about. See, here's the thing. Like the Nintendo games that like they designed and everything for it are clocking in at like 4 to 6 gigs.
Right.
So like they're not gigantic, games in any way, shape, or form. People are complaining about, all right, LA Noir, which apparently was just like completely not optimized for the thing at all. So it's like a 40 gig game or something.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that is not uncommon for the other consoles. And yeah, you're not going to see companies porting a 40 gig game just so it can go on the Switch and make it 5.
No.
They're not going to put that level of effort into it.
I get that. But at the same time, it's not like people are acting, the way they're acting about this is they're acting like there's no solution for this.
And yes, people are never acting within what their actual context is. The context being the smallest system you can get of the competition has a 500 gig storage device in it. This has a 32, of which, 8 is consumed by OS.
And yeah, as I, walk around with my PS4 as a portable, I mean, it's a different damn system. And it's again.
But again, all the games were on the cartridge and did not require additional storage to run.
Yeah, and that's also the developer's fault because they're not buying the bigger cartridges. They could put it on. They can put it on a larger cartridge. They're choosing not to.
I don't know that there's a 40 gig cartridge. I mean, I know you can get SSDs in sizes larger than 40 gigs, but or not SSDs, but solid state devices, micros or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I don't know for that specific chipset that they're using for the game cards.
And it's also a non-issue because LA Noir is going to sell nothing on the Switch.
Well, but see, that's where I think you and I feel that way. But if you listen to any of the gaming podcasts, the entire West Coast, San Francisco culture, which I don't know how far into other areas and stuff that reads, wants to play everything on their Switch. They want every single game in existence to come out on the Switch.
Yeah. You know what they're not playing? LA Noir because everybody played it like 10 years ago.
But yeah, to your point, that's a 10-year-old game. I mean,
don't tell me that these people really want to play that specific game on the Switch. Or like, this is what I've been waiting for, this system to play this game. They're not.
No,
it's faux outrage.
But say Sony did a deal with Nintendo and Horizon was coming to the Switch. That's got to be at least a 35 gig game. I don't know what it clocks in at, but I'm guessing that's got to be at least a 35 gig game. Yeah, I don't even know what you're doing, but yes, I know it has a micro SD card slot. I also know that they're not expensive, but they're not cheap either.
I'm just checking something real quick.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, I'd still have like 150 gigs left after all the stuff.
You also have like 14 terabyte cards just lying around because of your camera dealings.
I'm just saying, this is not a thing.
With the games that you've chosen to interact. Mark would be having a coronary.
Yeah, because I downloaded. I mean, this is with I downloaded quite a bit actually. I think Lego Worlds is a download. Thimbleweed Park, Sonic Mania, Forma 8, Shovel Knight's a small one. Thumper. The Blaster Master. Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of games on there already too that are actual like full-on downloads. And it's just like I'm sorry, it's a non-issue.
But again, you're talking, well, with the exception of a couple there, but they were small games to start with. Nintendo Switch exclusives for the most part, which are going to be smaller because
Some.
they developed them with that in mind.
But it's just faux outrage. They're not playing LA Noire. Anybody that's angry about that has either already played the game or really was not going to play it on the Switch. I'm sorry. Nobody's playing that game on the Switch.
Right. I'm not specifically saying that title. I'm just saying it's going to be a challenge for other third-party titles that come over. For people that are used to, well, at least with the Wii, back to the Wii, you could be used to just buying a console, maybe a small SD card for it. The Wii U, had this problem even worse than the Switch does. You basically couldn't do anything to that thing without a hard drive of some sort hooked up to it.
Yeah, but that's also that's more of a legit complaint because like that was a full-on console with expectation to it. This thing's a tablet.
You're saying there's no expectations for the Switch at all?
No, I'm just saying like the expectations are a little bit different because the hardware is actually completely different. Like you can't just sit there and it's not just a console hooked up to your TV where you have an expectation of that this thing should have a hard drive in it because it's just this big stationary box.
I think you're being entirely too rational about this. I think there's a lot of people that do. I think if they thought they could get, every game that's ever come out in the last year looking as gorgeous as it does on the fastest running PC in the universe, that's how it should look on the Switch.
Yeah. The Switch runs at what? 480p? We're not talking.
No, it runs 1080 in the dock, 720 in handheld.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that high?
Yep.
Nice.
Didn't even know it. Your eyeballs were bleeding and you didn't even know it.
Nah. I mean, I know it did. At least 720p. But I mean, I don't know. I just think people are a little bit it's a little tiny slab. You're not going to have, a terabyte in there. That's just not the way they do it.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's just, it's a thing that happened. I tend to think it's a little, that game in particular, it's like, okay, fine, whatever. And the other side of that is, people are losing their pajamas over the 4K patches for games that are bigger than the games started.
Yeah.
So, there's storage on consoles is not as simple as necessarily as storage on everything else. Now, the other two consoles, they do have the ability to hook up an external hard drive. Understand for the Switch that doesn't make sense. But you've got the SD cards, but again, you can't buy as much in an SD card for a comparable price as you can for your typical external drive. Anyway, there's some rumblings about the world that Infinity War might be a heist movie, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Super Mario Odyssey was the fastest selling Mario game in the US ever.
That seems crazy.
That does seem kind of crazy, but considering there's only 5 Switches in the wild because nobody can find one. Dooby 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 doo. I don't know that this matters at all, but more than half of Destiny's 2 console sales were downloads. Okay. And now the other half of the story to make it just that much more hilarious. Sony also announced another PSVR bundle with another one of their VR upcoming titles, which is not a new title. And it goes by the name of Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. And it comes with the PSVR that does have HDR pass-through.
Which is
so you can see all the shades of gray from Skyrim.
Which is good stuff. I mean, that's what you want, Um,
Especially, I don't even know if this version of Skyrim you can play outside of VR. I think it's VR only.
nice.
Whereas the Gran Turismo is both. So it's like literally flip flop. I mean, there is not a worse assemblage that could have come out of this.
Nice.
Oh man. I feel bad for the project manager who is being pressured to get these things out on some schedule and forcing this reality into existence. Sadly, your average consumer is not going to know the difference is the unfortunate part. So okay, I have never played a Toe Jam and Earl game. I don't really know anything about it. I don't even know. I'm assuming they're platformers. I have no idea. If you've been following the Back in the Groove development at all, Dave, it
Yeah,
sounds like a thing you'd be into.
I'm actually in the Kickstarter, so
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
it.
So you know that it's been delayed.
Yeah,
Is this a concerning thing, or do we think this is just business as usual?
I think it's just business as usual. I mean, it's not a whatchamacallit. I didn't expect, to be honest, I didn't realize the game was supposed to be coming out this year.
Whatever happened to that Castlevania, not Castlevania one? Is that still
They're still working on it.
working on? Okay.
They're still cooking. The but I mean, that's the way this stuff works. It takes a while, and that's okay. Um,
True
I'm
that.
I'm not concerned about it. I want a good product.
Yeah, and if that's why they're delaying it and that's what you're going to get, I fully support that.
Yeah, that's
Players Unknown Battleground. Can we just say this game is out? Please, for the love of God, can we just say this game is out? Over 20 million copies sold. It's the top everything in Steam. It's in the top 30 games of all time. I think it's actually gone higher than that now since this article was written. Can we just say the damn game is out? This just bothers me. I don't know why, but it does, and I just want everyone to stop calling it early access and just admit that the game is out and move on with life.
yeah. My thing is, if that many people are playing it,
And it's that stable and it's that functional and
yeah,
has that much appeal. The game is out.
yeah. I've read something before that there's a lot of there's tax benefits to stuff being in beta versus
Oh yeah, that was the whole thing with why Google never took anything out of beta.
right. Um, so yeah, I'm wondering if it has actually something to do with that, and this is like the latest loophole for them to make extra money.
Yeah, it could be, I suppose. Then in the thing that I got really, well, not excited about, but I got enthused about. They teased and they brought it up, and I got kind of fired up about this concept because I don't consider myself a trophy whore, but I do tend to sometimes go a little
you,
obsessive.
you take a little pride in it.
I do, I make sure that the earned to unearned platinum ratio is maintained at a good level, and that there's just certain accomplishment to certain games. Like I'm going to want a platinum Horizon. I don't know that it's possible, but I'm going to want to do it. It doesn't have an online component, so that's the first thing in its favor. But Sony Rewards, which is a program out there, which I've been a member of for I don't know how long, quite a while, and have like $14 worth of rewards built up because the return ratio on it is utter crap. I'm sorry, but it is. I am not an employee of Sony. So they announced that you were going to be able to redeem trophies for points. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the exchange rate going, I got about 35, $40 worth of points. That's not bad. I could gen that up and use that for stuff. Yeah, I have $0 of points because it doesn't count anything that happened before the program started, which was 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's awesome.
that is jacked up. I mean, yeah,
Oh,
there's some people out there with like hundreds of platinum trophies, which okay, yeah, I get. Maybe
there's
they
a
didn't
lot
want to
of
take that hit, but
yeah, there's a lot of people that they would be taking a hit on. It like, why give stuff away for that free,
but
I'm
yeah,
sorry, I'm fading.
you're fading. I'm sorry. I'm kind of well. We're not even at 2 hours here yet, man. Come on.
What are you talking about? It's after midnight.
Yeah, we started at 9:15. It's only 11:06.
Yeah, it's when we usually cut it.
All right, we're getting close. GTA 5 has shipped 85 million copies to become the number one best selling video game of all time in the United States, surpassing
Wii Sports,
Wii Sports.
which I'm still trying to figure out how. Like people were
Because it
saying,
was
like
bundled. It was bundled with the Wii.
it
So
was bundled, but then it sold more when they released it on its own.
yeah,
How did that happen?
I have no idea.
Wait, now I think I got it. I mean, eventually people were buying used systems and had to rebuy the game. So
Well, yeah, but it's just. I mean, it was a good base level game to have. I won't begrudge it that, but and it showed you how all the things could go with the motion stuff.
yeah,
PlayStation app got a facelift today. That's literally today. That's in the day we're recording. Actually, some pretty nice work in there. I don't know if the iOS web store has gotten fixed, but from what I've talked with Mark, the iOS web store is really bad compared to the one that you get on the Android, which makes no sense to me, knowing how that stuff is done, why one would be so much different from the other. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff around the social features, around your friends, around events that are going on, updates and stuff. I don't know that much of it will be used. I'll probably still pretty much only use it to launch the web store for when I download the free plus games at the beginning of every month, which is pretty much the only time I ever use the app. But yeah, it looks nice. It's a lot snappier. It works a lot better than the previous version, and it looks a lot better, more modern, a lot more options. You can do more stuff in it. Again, personally for me, I probably still won't use it, but at least it looks nicer. I have no idea what that was because some of these things Mark put in, only like half the thing comes through, and I'm not going to click the link. Square Enix profit doubled quarter to quarter for this past quarter. So,
wow.
yeah, that's pretty impressive. Also promising more Switch support for that, which I think Square Enix, especially if they can go into their back catalog, will have a great relationship with the Switch.
Oh God, yeah.
The people behind Pokemon Go are making a Harry Potter game. Shazam has cast their Billy. It's one of the kids from a Disney show that my daughter watches. I'm not even sure which one it is. I know the show. I just don't know which character it is.
Right.
Los Angeles Times is no longer banned from Disney movie previews. I don't know what went on there, but something didn't happen. And then we started streaming the podcast episode 267, named to be determined. Ha! We have caught up with our own past.
Nice.
So, all right. Well, stop this Twittery thing. So I know you're fading fast, but is there any other things that we didn't talk about that you really wanted to make sure people knew about or had a hankering to get out there before we tie this puppy off?
I just want people to know that you can buy an SD card for the Switch, and you should buy an SD card for the Switch.
I'm not yet because I only own one game for the Switch.
You're fine. You just need to spend your money on Mario next.
Yeah, that'll be one. Yeah. Speaking of spending money on games, watch the ads, please, for the love of Pete. Stuff is starting already. People have been having Black Friday sales for like a week already now. I picked up a copy of a game in violation of my own edicts because it was such a deal today. I don't physically have it yet. I ordered it, but the I know a lot of people have issues with Best Buy for many various and sundry reasons, but the Gamers Club Unlocked from Best Buy is one of the best programs out there. Understand if you already have Prime, they have their own gimped version of it. But seriously, in my first 2-year membership of that, I saved like 250, $275 over the course of that 2 years with that program.
Yeah, that works.
For a $30 2-year membership. So really it was, add $30 to that because that was, the payoff there. So, if you like saving money and you can put aside whatever dislike you may have for Best Buy, I don't have any, so it wasn't hard for me. It's a very, very, very good program. And, I'm surprised it lasted for me long enough to have a second 2-year membership. So I really thought I had to get in on that right away because there was no way this was going to last. And it has. I think it's actually been a very, very big a boon for them. So yeah, that's just something. But yeah, the sales, there's lots of daily sales. And stuff tends to sell out early, as it has a tendency to do online when they have those kinds of things. So just keep your ear to the ground, your nose to the wind, whatever other sayings there are about paying attention to things.
Nice.
Yeah. Man, it's the content season this fall is just insane. I know I said this before. I really want to watch that the Mist series that's on Netflix or Hulu. I don't even remember which one now, but they did Stephen King's story, The Mist, as a 10-episode series. So I'm really interested to check that out. Stuff coming fast and furious.
Yeah.
And there's not even a Fast and Furious coming out right now. So, yeah. It's a great and terrible time to be alive. It's that paralysis of choice. Like, what of all the things should I do?
Yeah, like there's an Amazon show I want to check out called Lore.
I haven't heard of that one.
You ever heard of that one? It's like it's based on like a podcast where they go into like I guess like the history of like urban legends and stuff like that. Of like, monsters and
Jersey Devil and
yeah, but like the real story behind the stuff. And this is like it's like a mixed media show where they kind of like go into the history of stuff. And like, really goes a deep dive into like, the mythology of like, these creatures and everything. So I really want to check that one out because that seems like a really cool thing, but I just haven't had time.
Yeah, it's tough. Think of where we started with our entertainment consumption to where we are today.
Oh, it's insane. I mean, just like I'm at a point where I'm just like, I am just completely tuning out a lot of superhero shows. Like there was a time in my life where I was just like begging to have a good superhero show on TV. There wasn't a cartoon.
Right.
And like now we just have so many that I'm just like, eh. Like
you sound like Ian in superhero movies. I think he's kind of burned out on them, but
I'm not burned out on the movies. Keep them coming. I mean, I'm cool with that. I think they have a good pace for that stuff. At least the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
The other stuff, I'm just like, you guys need to regroup.
I told him I think I'm just a bit older than him, so I'm like I remember more of the dark ages, so I still have a better This is like living through the Depression and not living through the Depression.
Like I remember the Spider-Man in the 70s.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Where he's literally like throwing a piece of rope.
Yep. But remember, the best superhero show we had for years was All American Hero.
Greatest American
Hero. Sorry, I realized I said that wrong after that. Greatest American Hero.
Yeah.
So he lost the instruction manual, so
Which is
they're supposed to be remaking that, I think.
That could be fun. That could be a fun remake.
It could be, depending on how they decide to go with it.
But we have stuff like we have a good version, another good version of The Tick.
Yeah. I still haven't watched that. I keep on forgetting that
To
that's
watch
there
that,
to
that's good.
watch. I know.
That's a good one. They I'm just,
When you just spontaneously start laughing, thinking about it, you know, if there's something there, you know.
there was this one really great joke that I just loved it. You have to watch it.
It's not another Deflator Mouse joke, is it?
No, no, no. It had nothing to do with that. It was just a normal, you know, um, like a normal, what you call it, like henchman,
Mm.
kind of thing. Like a low level dude just said something, and it was just hilarious.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll get that in the queue here too, because I do have to watch that.
It's pretty quick because it doesn't it's not a I don't remember it being a long season. Like I ran through it in like a day and a half.
Yeah, it's not very many episodes. I don't know if they're 45-minute or what they are, but a minute as far as the duration. But
Oh, ouch! I was just gonna see about I was thinking of Christmas presents for my mom, and I'm like maybe I'll get her Echo Show.
that
And
was that's the yeah, that's the tablet-y one.
it's the video one,
Yeah.
where I was just like, oh, that'd be cool because you can like video chat with, with Alex and whatnot. And it's just like, eh. Oh, you know something? Dummy. She has an iPad. We need to set that up.
Yeah.
Never mind. Not
Anyway.
spending, not spending $230 for that.
Yeah, that's a bit steep.
Yeah. I
Especially
thought,
compared to the other prices of those things.
yeah, I thought they were like 150. I was going to do it.
So yeah, we haven't talked comics in a while. The ending of Secret Empire was
Merciful.
they did all of the things that you didn't. It's like, oh, come on, people, really. We got the aftermath of that going on. We got Steve doing the nomad thing again. Well, not officially, he hasn't called himself nomad or whatever yet, but he's basically doing the same thing. Sam is no longer Captain America. Everybody's just settling into the new normal post Secret Empire. And now they've just announced Avengers No Surrender, which I don't know a ton about, and I haven't had a ton of time to research it. Anytime, actually. But it sounds like it's going to be a weekly story. Now, what I haven't been able to tell is if it's a different book every week. So every week it's like Avengers, Uncanny Avengers, Champions, and I don't know, pick another book. I can't think of another book. And then it just cycles that way, and that's how it does it. Or if it's an own separate, like 52 style book where it's its own book that comes out every week.
It better be its own book. I hate when they sit there and run stuff across series. That always drove me nuts when they started doing that back in, I guess, the 90s.
Yeah.
When they started like doing it through the X books and everything, and like, okay, this part's going to be here, this part's going to be here. So like you're reading one story, and then the artwork drastically changes because you're jumping books, and it drove me up a wall.
Well, it was even worse than that when they were doing Spider-Man twice. It was twice a month, or was it every week? I think it was twice a month. And they had 3 different creative teams working on one title.
Yeah, you can't do that.
It was weird. It was very weird. They finally had to stop doing that. But which is
Just let the guys put out one book a month is hard enough to do well.
Yeah.
I never understood why they needed to
Money.
But it
Because
loses.
$4 a book isn't bad enough.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
But so now they've announced No Surrender. It's supposed to be the culmination of everything that's been building since. You could almost probably go back to Avengers Disassembled. You could almost go back that far, but definitely since the stuff that started happening since the first Marvel.now initiative. So culminating to all that stuff that's happened since we've been teased with the return of the Richards family. And that's the Marvel side. DC apparently is doing great with Rebirth. I'm not reading it. I read a few of the number ones, but that's as far as I went with it. I can really only afford one universe's worth of habits.
Yeah,
I can't even really afford that.
I'm curious about the Bendis stuff.
Yeah, that was the other thing the announcement announced, and it was. I don't know how this happened. I don't understand it, but my understanding of the way my understanding of things is this was not well coordinated. I don't think all the players on the field knew exactly what was going on until DC makes a tweet. Welcome Brian Bendis to his exclusive contract with DC Comics.
Yeah.
Because, he's been with Marvel for a long time. It's at least 10 years, maybe a little over 10 years. Obviously he was doing stuff before that with Powers and Sam and Twitch. But really been an integral part of Marvel, the Ultimate Universe, and then eventually into the Avengers. Been a big part of what they've done stylistically over the last decade or so.
Yeah.
And so his departure will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how things switch up. Who are they going to bring in to try to fill that hole?
I figured a guy just wants to play in a new toy box.
Well, yeah, I don't begrudge him it. I mean, I think, there's times where he's gotten tired. His style has gotten tired on some books, and they've moved him on to other books, and I think he'll do great things over at DC. I hope he does. I hope that everything that both companies to do is great. I mean, I want it to be painful for me to be choosing to not be buying DC books.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of market you want, right? So I'm hoping that he'll go over there. Him and Jeff Johns, I think are yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jeff Johns are kind of birds of a feather when it comes to like lore.
Every time I say Jeff Johns, I think people are talking about Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, it's John Jones, and it's like, no, Jeff Johns. No, what? No. But I think those two guys are kind of lore master type folks, and I think they'll, them working together over in DC will be a very good thing. Unfortunately, the way lead time is with comics, we're not going to see anything out of him for a while.
Oh yeah.
I think Mark Waid is taking the lead on this No Surrender stuff for Marvel. So it's kind of interesting because they announced that they weren't going to do any more events. So this isn't an event. It's just a weekly title. So
it just has every feature of an event.
Yeah, every feature of an event, including, again, for the second time, the greatest Marvel hero you've never heard of, who also wears a yellow suit and is apparently like Superman level powered. Wait a minute, didn't we just do this with the Sentry like a couple years ago? Okay, it's been more than a couple of years.
Yeah, but everybody forgot about that already.
Yeah, well, they buried the Sentry. I mean, they've really buried that character hard after what happened during the I forget which timeline that was, or Osborn in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. and turning it into Hammer. I forget which storyline that was.
That was the Osborn Shield Hammer storyline.
Yes, the Osborn Shield Hammer storyline. Yes, exactly.
Sorry, I got nothing right now.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I should know it, and I don't. That's fine. But anyway, but yeah, we were teased with that. I think it was the last issue of Secret Empire. There was again, I guess, kind of spoilers here, but whatever. They have Jarvis looking out the window at the Avengers statue in the yard, and there's an extra person on the statue, and he looks at it and kind of gets quizzical look on his face. He's like, nope, everything's fine, and then walks off. You're like, no, there's an extra person on the statue. What are you talking about? Of course, you have to actually know what the Avenger statue is supposed to look like to know that there's an extra. So we're doing the Sentry thing again. So how that'll exactly will play out, who knows? Hopefully not exactly like the Sentry, because that would be very disappointing. But isn't Mark Waid the one who created the Sentry, now that I think about it? I think he did. I think Mark Waid was the writer on the original Sentry. I've got the trade over here. Marvel Studio, of course, it doesn't say on the doesn't say on the binding, of course, but okay. You're coming with me, Cable. Hold on 1 second. Now I've got to satisfy this curiosity door. Oh, nope. There goes everything. Nope. Oh, God. There goes Darth Vader. Oh, God. Everybody's dying.
Nice.
Of course, it doesn't say on the cover either. Why would it do that? No, that was Jenkins. Sorry, it wasn't. Okay. I was getting those guys confused for some reason. Okay, Darth Revan, I'll pick you up later. All right. So anyway, now that we've babbled on for a long while now, I don't think we need to do any last final thoughts. There are no bad jokes because Mark's not here, so we will not do bad joke conclusions. Again, I haven't said it again, but anyway, remember to like, follow, subscribe, +1 heart, whatever all the other things are, and excuse me while I cough.
That was supposed to be me tonight.
Yeah, well, I got that mute just in time there. You can support us by going to our Patreon page, which is you go to Patreon and search for Gamersledge, because that's what you do now. You don't actually remember URLs or follow them or click them. You just search for everything. So just go wherever and search for Gamersledge and you should find it. Patreon.com/Gamersledge, I believe is what the URL is. For as little as $1, you will get your name included in every podcast that I don't host because I don't have the capability to include them. Let me see how I can do on remembering the names. There's an Ian, there's a Regina, there's a Bobby, there's a John, there's a Justin, an Arturo, not Arturo, but a different Arturo. Is that it? Or am I forgetting somebody? I don't know.
I think that's it.
If I forgot somebody and you're watching, I apologize. Send me nasty emails at matt@don'tsendmenastyemails.com. Again, please follow us on YouTube and Twitch. Normally our streams are going over Twitch. I don't have the rig to do that, so I only go to YouTube. Follow us on both places. We've had a couple other shows that have kind of petered out recently, but you can go back and watch our older content and let us know if there's something that you'd like to see reborn, reinvigorated, renewed, given new life to, or if there's something else you'd like to see from us. I still need to finish my series on No Man's Sky and actually get to the center of the universe because I still haven't done that. So I'll do that someday, but anyway, if you want to get us some email, we normally have some email letters. I didn't get any from Mark this time, so apologize for that. But you can email us at balt@gamersledge.com. It's BALTH @gamersledge.com. And that will get us into the thing. Or you can leave comments on the YouTube videos, or you can send them on Facebook. You can do it however you like, and we will get it, and we will include it in an upcoming episode. Till then, on behalf of the entire Gamersledge crew and Dave, who is also part of the Gamersledge crew, but he's here, so he got special call out. You know what? I never did send an invite to Kate. I hope she wasn't sitting there waiting because she didn't respond today. God.
She usually reaches out.
She usually. I haven't. That's a whole nother topic. But
yeah, if she was standing by, she would have responded and
would have harassed us about something.
Yeah, she reaches out whenever she's ready to go.
So yeah, so hopefully you weren't, Kate. Apologize if you were, but I am the world's worst host because I'm never prepared. On the other hand, I think this has been a great cast. Thank you, Dave, for joining me today.
Yeah, not a problem, dude.
And we will see you again hopefully next week on another episode of Gamersledge Podcast. Game on.
Game on.